Hey everybody, it's Anakin and Viridia Guru 22 with episode 31 of your favorite gaming podcast you can't miss, Down the Scope. Welcome to all the hard scopers out there who have stuck with us now for 31 episodes. We're just trying to get this thing out this week. We're a little late this week, so you guys forgive us, and we're going to be glad when you guys tune in and hear us out this week. Viridia, what do you got for us this week? What have you been up to?
I have been playing some RPGs, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Getting some grind time down. If you know what I'm talking about, it's the time where you take a game where you can literally just sit there and do nothing but grind, and then you can watch an episode of Family Guy at the same time. So I caught up on season 8, 9, Family Guy, and grinded for about 20 hours straight while taking care of a baby.
Jeez.
And I ate a pound of butter.
You did eat a pound of butter. I will vouch for that. There is video proof of you eating a pound of butter. My
Not
God.
one damn second is out of that. Not only that, I did it in a pretty good time. You got to admit. I did the butter challenge and the cinnamon challenge in like 20 minutes.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. I don't know how. Me and my wife sat here and watched the entire video. And you know how you go to the movie theater and you got your hands over your eyes during a really, really scary movie? Let me tell you, this is exactly what I was doing the whole time. I was looking through the little tiny peepholes in my fingers going, oh my God, any minute he's going to lose it. Any minute it's going to come spewing all over the camera. And you know what? Props to you, my friend.
I was like, look, okay, I didn't realize, okay, here's the first thing. I buy margarine, okay? I buy big tubs of margarine called Country Crock. Okay,
I know Country Crock.
Okay. And that shit lasts me a long time. I didn't realize that butter, like I never use stick butter, ever. Like, because I don't cook. So I go to the store and I'm like, fuck, butter, I'm sorry, crap, butter. Butter's expensive. I was like, there's a pound of butter for like $4. I was like, that's the cheapest I could find. I was like, my God. And I was like, that's what I kept thinking the whole time. I'm like, that was like $4, buddy. And you better not throw it up, because then you gotta just do it over again.
Oh my God.
Put a failure online, just be like, you failed. No, well, sorry, I tried. No, you're gonna freaking complete it. I didn't complete the cinnamon challenge, evidently. You're supposed to try and swallow it, which is impossible.
Oh yeah, there's no way. I don't think you can swallow the cinnamon. I think you would die.
Yeah, no. You would. Oh, it would be horrible. I just put it in my mouth and just held it there, and it starts to burn really bad after a while. But the thing is the worst part about it is it literally feels like your mouth's a desert. You can't swallow it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's what I understood, is that it soaks up every ounce of moisture, you know?
Yeah. And then that's the only reason I couldn't hold it in my mouth, was because I was sitting there like, you know, if you see in the video, I'm like, this isn't that bad, actually. I was like, well, that's not bad. And then I moved my tongue, and that's when I felt that it was dry. It got under my tongue, and that was when it was over for me. That's what hurt so bad, is it was sitting under my tongue, and like it just started to burn, you know. And yeah, but anyway, that was for Medina's birthday or whatever. So happy birthday. Yeah.
Those of you who have not seen the video, if you listen to Down the Scope and you haven't seen Viridia's video of this, holy cow, set aside some time either before you eat or a long time after you've eaten and go watch that. I'm telling you.
I think that's like the most common. It's just like, I was eating, you dumbass. I was eating while watching. It's like, well, that was a stupid idea. I put a warning on there for people like you. So I was very attentive and was like, warning, do not watch this while you're eating your cereal, because this is not the content for you. So,
man.
Anyway,
yeah, I'll tell you, that was
what
pretty.
Are you doing?
That was pretty crazy. Well, I've been playing a few games. In fact, some of which I have you to thank for. You were pimping Bastion here the last couple of weeks, and you know what? I couldn't take it. I said, you know what? I got to try this. So I went ahead and jumped on in, and man, I am telling you, at first I was like, what's this silly little game? A little casual game. It's like Angry Birds, but with, something stupid. So I was like, I'll go try this.
Viridia's always wrong. So
No. I'm telling you, these silly little games, that are all casual games like on Xbox Live Arcade or PSN Network. I always, I tend to dismiss them because it just seems like, they're always like an old school throwback. There's nothing real new about it or whatever. The last time I bought like an Xbox Live Arcade game that I was just absolutely like, blown away with was Shadow Complex. And I mean, man, that was just a great game. So I went ahead and said, you know what, I bought Limbo recently on Steam, and I really enjoyed Limbo. What's funny is I still haven't beat it. I'm actually near the very end, and I only play that game for about 20 minutes at a time, and then I kind of get bored of the dark, the dark colors, and the irritation of the some of the puzzles, because a lot of them are just, it's just the timing that you know what to do, but you're like, oh God, you just screw it up or whatever a couple times. I just get irritated with that kind of gameplay, and I end up moving on. But anyway, I think I'm near the very, very end on that. And then, I looked at Bastion online. You had talked about it several times, and I said, you know what, I got to try this. I have not stopped playing Bastion since I got it. And I really am enjoying it. It is a pretty darn good game.
Yeah, it's definitely one that came out of the freaking, they mined that one out. It was like, what the hell happened here? It's like the thing about Bastion that really sets it apart, like I said, was the narration. And it's this guy who keeps you moving on and on through the game, and he just keeps you wanting to play and hear what's said. And it never gets overly done, and he's always telling you, not you, the character, but you, the player, what's going on. Yeah. And that's what really, really sets it apart.
It's like, I just, I keep saying the guy kind of sounds like a Sam Elliott or something, you know, where, it's almost like you're playing a video game, and it's like as if Sam Elliott is narrating the game like over your shoulder, it's like, and just telling you what you're doing or whatever. And it's really, it really is well done. In fact, at first I thought, okay, well, this is kind of a stupid little gimmick. It's going to get old. But honestly, it gives the game all the charm in the world, And there's so many things that the game does right. The way that the scenery pops up as you're walking through.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's really well done. And then the other issue too, where if you fall off, which happens often to me, apparently. But when you fall off, they don't penalize you for it because they know it's going to happen. Yeah. And I've been thinking that's really nice that they didn't penalize you so hard.
Well, they penalized you one time, and that's with him going, and then he fell off the cliff.
Exactly.
Literally, the first time, like it says, push this to roll. I'm like, okay, and then I push it, and I roll right off the cliff. And he was like, it was narrating perfectly. It was like in the trees and the flowers, and then I rolled off the cliff, and he's like, and then he fell to his death. He's like, nah, I'm just kidding.
Exactly.
I was like, oh my God, that's hilarious. It's like it's something you wouldn't find in a normal game, but it really does add to it. But yeah, the art style is definitely worth buying it for. The narration, just the overall gameplay. It gets very hectic toward the end. It almost kind of becomes a bullet hell game at some points.
I just got the musket, and I'm digging the musket because, man, I mean, that thing is crazy. Now, hang on, though. I got to ask you, what did you keep for your two weapons generally? Now, I know, obviously, there's way more later, but do you keep the hammer, or did you ditch the hammer?
I ended up, I can't tell you about, I ended up going for two guns.
Okay. Now, what about, did you ever use the little squirt for your special?
The squirt. No,
he's like a little friendly squirt.
Oh no, never. No, I only use the decoy. It's the only one that seems useful to me.
I was using the trip mine. I've been using the trip mine or the hand grenade, but then I got the little squirt guy, and man, I mean, it was like ever since I found him, I don't want to give him up anymore. Yeah,
once you get the decoy, because I can handle myself in a fight, literally, it's like one of those Twitch things where if you played enough slashers, you learn to react and roll out of the way of certain attacks.
Yeah, they telegraph a lot of the moves.
Right, but the thing is that you get into certain situations later on where the fungus, like the plants, the the scenery is like attacking you from distance,
Right.
and you're like, God dang it, I got the musket, I can't hit him from that far.
Exactly.
And you get pissed off, and then you throw a decoy down, and they all go toward him, and you run up, and then boom, you can fire some shots to give yourself some time.
Exactly.
And, then I mean, by upgrading your guy, by upgrading the town or the Bastion or whatever it was called, I can't remember, but by upgrading it, you can hold more more decoys, and that ends up becoming, I think, the most vital part of it. I just started my new game plus, so we'll see if it helps out for that. But I don't know if the game gets harder or not. We'll see. But it's definitely good. If I had a melee weapon, I generally kept the hammer or the machete.
Oh right, I never did the machete so far. I've been keeping the hammer, and I've been upgrading the hammer and upgrading the musket so far, trying to stick with those. So
yeah, the thing is that you get to upgrade it again. Like it'll add more upgrade slots, and then you're like, oh wait, there's more than 2 or 3 upgrades. There's like 7.
Jeez.
Yeah. So that's the one thing about it. I was like, what the heck? Like, it's a game that's supposed to be replayed, like after you play it once. I was like, okay, well, it adds more to it, and it'll be a fun little thing to see. These games always have these completionist things, which kind of leads me to the game I've been playing most, all the week, and that was Nier. And this is a whole topic for another session, but it really leads to how reviewers are just absolute crap.
That's right, because Nier in the reviews overall, it was they did not treat that game kind. No. But you've been raving about that thing.
Man, this is one of the gems, one of Viridia's gem games. Like, if I think I'm gonna go back to the guy who did my new background, which, if you haven't seen him, it was DC Copus. Thank you very much for the background. But I'm gonna have him put the Nier guy in the background. That's how much I love the game. It's not one of these things where it's like, oh, well, you're the only guy that liked it. No, if you pick up this game and you're a normal person, and you're like, no, I like Zelda. I like, I like the RPG elements of Zelda. I like, Devil May Cry slashers. I like upgrading. I like that. You've got it. It's got a beautiful story around it. And I was just like, this was one of the few times, I don't think I've really ever done this again. I can't think of a time where I literally just stop for a minute and I start scratching my head and I'm like, why was this game only $5 or so? And I was like, wait a minute, hold on, wait. There's something coming up that's going to piss me off. It's going to game break it, because initially when you put it in, you're like, okay, wow, the story just really pulled me in. It did a good job. All right, let's keep going. Let's see where this is going to fall off the edge. And you're literally Columbus sailing across the world, going, all right, where's the edge? And it's just a perfect circle. It just like goes all the way around, and it comes full. And you're like, what the hell? And by halfway through the game, you're like, that they were wrong. It's like, yeah, you can nitpick some things, but you can't give this a 5 game spot. Are you kidding? They gave it a 5.
Well,
and then they give some game, like, I don't know. I'm gonna look at my collection real quick. I'll just pick one out. Let's see, Turok. I guarantee you they probably gave that like a 7. And that, in comparison, it's like, okay, Turok was 7 hours. Nier is damn near 25 hours. If you want to go, the full route, it can be more than that.
Wow.
It's a game that you put a lot of time into, a lot of effort went into it. If you haven't played it, I really, really would like you to get it and at least try it.
Well, what's crazy is it's that is an older game now. The reviews were pretty poor, the sales were pretty poor. I think based on just your review alone, I think you can come across that game for about $10 or $15 now. So I mean,
easily, like, it is dirt cheap. And it's fun. Like, it's just so much fun. And that's the thing about it. It offers a challenge if you want it. If you don't want a challenge, you can put it down to easy and just go through for the story and the fun hack and slash. And then the normal mode, once you play through the game and get the first ending, you can ramp it up to hard for the second playthrough to make it harder, to add more challenge to the game. It's not like you're always stuck,
Right.
I could give you a full review of this game and tell you why this game is way better than what the reviews say, but just take my word for it, and at least at least give it a glance, pick it up or something like that. I put a video, literally a tutorial, because I had a really hard time with one of the quests in the game, and I was like, damn it. So I finally figured out a kind of a graphical glitch that kind of told you when this random occurrence was going to happen. I put it on my channel, and it got like 700 views. Like, nobody was interested. And I was like, guys, come on. This is the stuff you should be wanting to play. You know, these little hidden gems. You know, not me eating a pound of butter. That thing got like 2,200 views.
I saw that. I know.
But anyway, that's what I've been playing. I've been playing that, Eternal Sonata, and Mafia 2. I beat Nier full completion in 20 hours. So, yeah, I definitely pick up that game. I can recommend it because I've beaten it. The other two I'm still working on. Anyway.
All right, well, you know, that brings me over to the game that I was doing. You know, I mean, that sounds like you got a plate full. The one game that I got to talk about real quick, speaking of games we've just been playing, was Deus Ex.
Right. How did that turn out?
Well, you know, it's strange. I didn't have a whole lot of interest in this game whenever it first showed up. And, you know, it kind of got a little bit of a hype. You know, the critical reviews are through the freaking roof. Right. And so I'm like, you know what? You know, it's kind of dead time right now. I'll give it a shot. What the heck? Right. So I try this thing out. Okay, I got a very good friend of mine he actually beat it this weekend. He played it all the way through. He said it was 20 something hours long, and he did a lot of the side missions and so forth. And he said one of the best games he's played in ages. And I'm like, wow, okay. And I read the reviews, and all the reviews on Metacritic and everything are all like 95 and everything. And I'm just like, okay, this game must be flying under the radar or something, because I didn't know it was going to be like this mega hit. So I said, what the heck? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot. Yawn. You know, and let me clarify, you know, I'm sure there's people out there that are fans of this game. They're going to be flaming me over this. But the thing is, you know, I am a pretty darn seasoned gamer, okay? I've been playing games a long time. Right. And I played the first Deus Ex, and it was a very good game. The second one was a very bad game. And if you look at both of those, they were reviewed about like that, okay? Deus Ex was very different at the time, had a lot of new RPG elements that were missing from other first-person shooters of the time period, you know, the late 90s. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, okay, you know, I mean, it was a cool world. I like the whole Deus Ex, you know, style and everything. So, you know, I'm a cyberpunk kind of fan. So, you know, this ought to be right up my alley. Right. I have got probably, I don't know, 2 hours in it, and I am just like, this is not good.
Yeah, it's just kind of bland.
It's just, you know, okay, they spend, I don't know, they spend like the first, I don't know, probably 20 minutes of you know, kind of getting, it's almost like a glorified tutorial, you know, and they walk you around, and then there's this crazy stuff that goes down, and then poof, they play like the intro movie, you know, right. and the intro movie is in itself like, you know, 3 or 4 minutes long or something, and it's very well done, okay, it's neat, it's well done, and, you know, I don't think this is any big surprises, but, you know, when you come back from the intro movie, you're now like this, you know, cybernetic individual. You know, you've it's almost like the RoboCop scene. You know, the guy gets all shot up and everything, and you're just like, you know, and then the scene after that is the entire sequence of him going through all of the, let's just call them reboots, as he's brought back to life with all these different cybernetic things. This is so similar to that. And that's not a bad thing, okay? But it's so similar to that. And then they basically just reintroduce you to the game, and now you have these abilities. And, you know, that's all fine and dandy. No problem. I don't have any complaints about that. The first complaint I've got, though, is the voice acting is just terrible. I mean, it's just terrible. The main guy sounds like he's doing almost like a parody of Christian Bale's Batman voice.
Really? Oh. See, I haven't played it. I've only heard, you know, a few things about it and read some reviews. I haven't actually heard his voice.
Oh man, it's so bad. And he's not even that gruff of a person. You know, he doesn't even sound like he's that gruff. He's just, you know, it's like there's this relationship he's got with this other guy, and apparently, you know, I don't know the history or whatever yet. But there's this guy that leads them along. They have to work together, and anyway, you know, we don't know what the issue is. Okay, they have some issue, but this guy, you know, the other guy is like, hey, you know, you need to, you know, I can't believe you let all those people die. And then he's like, you'd better back off. You know, it's like, oh man, you know, it's like, oh god, it's just not good. Right. And the gameplay mechanics are no better. You know, it's this bizarre, like, weird hybrid between, you know, like Gears of War style cover system mixed with a ADS missing aiming system. Yeah, it's just, I'm telling you, to me, it did not hit the mark so far. I have not given up on it. I'm going to continue with it because everybody keeps telling me it's worth it if you stick with it. It begins to pay off later. But man, I'll tell you what, I sure don't see it. I don't like the game engine. I don't like the the game mechanics. The voice acting is bad, and it's a series of going from one room with a bunch of enemies, shooting them, to another room with a bunch of enemies. And, you know, it's also one of those games where if you peek your head out, one bullet, maybe two, you're dead. I mean, and it's literally, it's like you're shooting at somebody, you peek your head out, and they go, I see you, and then you're dead. Literally, like that. And you're like, this is ridiculous. What the hell kind of game is that, you know?
Yeah, that really does bug me in some of those stealth games. You know, there have been games that have done stealth very well, like, you know, Splinter Cell and Metal Gear and whatnot, but they never have mastered the art of enemy AI, I don't think. I think Conviction did a good job, but, like, it just seems like, you know, in the real world, for one thing, you know, I could see you if you were hiding in the shadows and you walked right by me. My eyes would adjust.
Exactly.
For one. I mean, and it's stuff like that, you know, that makes the game easy at times. And then you've got, like, what you're talking about, the anti, like, AI that's like, you know, you're like in shadow, complete black. You've got a tarp in front of you, but it's like the enemy AI doesn't see the tarp. He doesn't see the door. He doesn't see anything. That's all invisible to him. So when you, like, poke your head out, he's, oh my god, there he is. You know, I mean, I've encountered this a ton of times when, like, you know, it's like you see something, it's like, oh, he can't see me. Yeah, but in real life he couldn't see you.
Right.
But that little sheet of plastic that you think, you know, would cover your body, that you can even see the shadow, like, covering you, that's not going to do it for him.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think they definitely need to master it. Not only that, maybe you can answer this question for me, because I know this happens in Deus Ex, and I'd like your the viewer or listener opinions as well. What's the deal with so, like, say you were standing in a factory room, you were meant to guard it. You know that a guy is coming in there. They're like, watch out, this augmented soldier is going to be coming in, and kill him. You see the augmented soldier, and then 30 seconds later you just give up looking for him.
I know. It's like, wait a minute.
Where did he go? Where did he go? And then, like, 30 seconds, they're like, screw it. They just go back.
And then they go back to patrol. You know, and it's like you're behind a box. You hid behind a box, and they're looking for you. And they're like, hey, where is he? He's behind that box. Okay. And then he's like, oh, he must be gone. Yeah. And then they go back to walking around, you know?
That logic, it's like, wait a minute, hold on. No. You don't give up searching once you've been seen. But that defeats, it's like, oh, well, even if you did, okay, even if he did get out of that room, okay, say you went through a vent, now you're outside and you're in the alley, you'd be calling that crap in.
Hell yeah.
You know, like in Metal Gear Solid, it's like, oh, everybody be advised, there's a guy, blah, blah, blah. And, like, but you wouldn't go back to just, like, man in your post. You go try and find him, you know?
You know, this is why Crysis really spoiled me for those kind of games. The original Crysis, actually, was even better. It seems like at times, although I'll tell you, the second one is probably just as good. When they see you and they know you're there, they don't give up. They are coming for you, you know? They don't go back to wandering around aimlessly, you know? Especially the first Crysis, man, it was crazy. They would come searching for you.
Right, they wouldn't just let you get by, and that's the art of it. Like, you gotta master this form. It's like, yeah, it's difficult, but it's real, you know.
Exactly.
And that was the first thing and the only thing I've really seen of Deus Ex. I was watching an LP I'm subscribed to, and he, he peeks his head up. There he is! And then, like, he's like, oh, crap, hide. Just wait. Literally, just sit there. And it's like, dun, 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 dun. Oh, he must have got away. Oh, well, I'm going to go smoke a cigarette.
let me turn my back to the box that he hid behind. Yeah, I know.
I mean, I just can't wait till they can introduce like personalized AIs to these people where it's like you see a guy, he's standing by a window, you give him like a minute or two of standing there, he's like, God, fuck it, I really need to go out for a cigarette. He walks out the door, he walks outside. It literally takes him, 6 minutes to smoke a cigarette. He opens a text messages his girlfriend. He comes back in. He's not walking the same V shape, down the hall.
Exactly, right.
Back he's actually like scratching his ass and stuff. He's like, oh shit, I dropped a quarter. And then you got
awesome.
You know what I mean? You got time to do stuff like to him, and it's something real. It creates a different scenario every time rather than the static, thing that a speedrunner could do.
Exactly.
Learning patterns. You can. I mean, that's one of the achievements for the game. I think even is to get through the whole game without killing anybody that's unnecessary.
That's right. Yeah, they actually have if you kill everybody non-lethal or something, you get some kind of special reward.
Right, and it's like the. The way that's possible is because you memorize where these people are going to be. And pretty soon there will be a speed run, and somebody will have just sped run the crap out of it because they're like, all right, as soon as I jump over here, this guy's going to be here, this guy's going to be here. I'm going to be able to, sneak into this corner for 5 seconds and sneak out of here. They're going to know exactly what's going to happen. But just imagine a game where every time it was different. It's like, yeah, there's going to be 2 guards there, but you don't know where they're going to be. One guy might be outside on his cell phone. One guy might be in the bathroom. You never know.
Exactly.
You got to... So that would be what I want to see out of a stealth game. Something that really made you hide, really made you have to be stealthy, and it really took into account maybe your boots. Now, again, I don't know Deus Ex, like your boots, what you're wearing on your feet.
So far, that doesn't have any bearing.
2 hours in, we're not seeing boots.
Yeah.
But, put some socks on your boots or something to muffle your steps, because, I mean, in those games, your footsteps like...
Right.
That's what it sounds like. And you're like, God, I know I'm crouched down, but damn, I'm still making a lot of noise. And these guys are just like, ooh, doo, doo, doo. And I'm like, that shit's echoing. I mean, you could even hear it echo. They're not responding. So, I mean, it got kind of annoying. Anyway.
Well, what kills me, too, is, you walk in and they're all just standing in this bizarre, like, pattern. They're all, like, you'll see a guy, you'll walk in, and he's staring at a wall.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, have you ever, if you watch any decent movie or whatever with the idea of guys, who are, like, guarding something, they're all sitting around a table playing poker or something, I mean, that's more realistic here.
What the flip? Yeah, and then they jump up and they're like, then the battle starts, if
exactly.
They get, and it's like a circular table. There's one light, you got all the shadow around, but guess what? You got to like play a little mini game where you got to, oh crap, can't knock over the bottle. Bing, 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 bing. Hit the A button. Go keep the bottle from falling on the ground so that they don't know you're there or something.
Right.
Something little in there to spice it up. But yeah, just make the AI smarter in these games. That's the one thing again that draws me away from some of these. And I'm not saying like every game, not just Deus Ex because I've never played it, but I'm just talking these games,
just
like, these espionage type games in general, rather than just Deus Ex. But that's what I want to see out of something. I want to see some realistic stuff. I'm sure we will get it pretty soon. I don't think we'll be waiting long before somebody comes out with something. As a matter of fact, I was reading something about this game. I don't even think it has a title yet. That is evidently supposed to be an espionage type game where you can go through the game and literally kill nobody. And so I'm looking forward to maybe that one's the one I'm talking about. Who knows?
That's not Hard Reset, is it?
I don't, honestly, I shouldn't have even brought it up because I don't remember it looked honestly like kind of like the Crisis guy. He had like a mask on, and then they were just like blah blah blah's game states that you can get through it, without ever killing anybody or something like that, and that it would take like 30 hours to beat, and kind of like it was trying to rival Deus Ex. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's the one I'm thinking of, but yeah, overall, I think you're right. I think some of these newer games, hopefully, will focus on AI. I remember when Half-Life, the very end of Half-Life Day 1, the demo, whenever right before Half-Life came out, we're talking like 97. The very first time they released that demo, when the soldiers came in and they responded to where you were in the game. It wasn't some weird scripted event. It was like the very first time in a game that you saw enemy soldiers actually work together to try to defeat you, and it was like, it was very, very good at the time. And I'm waiting for that next aha moment in gaming when, the AI is just unbelievably, advanced compared to where we're at.
Yeah, and that's what surprised me about like Splinter Cell Conviction and stuff like that, because they had, you're used to this, oh, I'm just going to stand here and wait for him to poke his head up, but then they actually show a little bit of intelligence, and he's like, all right, you go around that side, I'm like, oh crap,
exactly,
I'm like, crap, what do I do? And I'm like, oh yeah, I got all these like extra inventory items like EMP bombs, flash grenades. I never use them in the other games because I know that's what's going to happen.
Right.
But now I'm like, oh crap, I'm gonna throw an EMP down like right before they come around the corner. I'm like, knock their heads together and get the hell out of there. And I'm like, wow, that was a damn decent experience right there. That really put me on the edge of my seat. And knowing going forward that I'm not going to be able to, do that, it's gonna definitely. It's going to bring the game up for me.
Yeah.
It's going to make it more exciting. It's not going to be this just generic game. And this is just, format for any game, first person shooter too. That's another thing that this game is an FPS, but, like you said, it lacks the ADS element, which I don't guess a lot of people need, but I think every first person shooter should have that ability.
Yeah. At this point, a game without it just feels wrong, and there's a lot of things to me. Now, again, I've only played for a couple of hours. I don't want to make a bunch of people mad where I'm, misjudging the game by only having played it a little bit. But I'll tell you, I get a feel for a game engine very quickly, and I'm playing this on PC, by the way, and the deal is, man, I'm telling you, I just don't like the feel of the mouse movement. I don't like the way that they've got the cover system set up. Right. It's just not, to me, it's not what I was looking for, and it's certainly not what I would assume is getting, 95s over at Metacritic. I mean, that's what shocks me.
Especially when some games like Nier, they get next to no respect from some of these guys. It makes you really wonder what that, why. I can understand, Nier having some issues and whatnot, but to give it a freaking, 5, and to get these ratings down to where it's just like, wasn't that good,
Right.
It's like, yeah, it was good. And with promotion from these people, it would have been great, if they would take a game that we would consider not, completely awesome, and they would put some reviews out going, this game is great, blah, 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 it would be, selling. It's all up to them, and that's what
exactly
so bad. So, I mean, if Metacritic, if that score said 5.5 on Deus Ex, guess what? You definitely wouldn't have bought it.
Heck no.
Hell no, you wouldn't have bought it.
No,
half the people in the world wouldn't have bought it. And you know what? That's what happened with Nier. You got some guy who's like, he was playing Call of Duty, is what he was doing. He's sitting there, he's playing, hey, John, you got to review Nier. And he's like, you son of a gun, I don't like RPGs. It's like, I'm playing Call of Duty. Well, get off your butt and review Nier. He puts it in for 2 minutes, boom, he's done. Oh, I just got paid $1,500 to review this game, but I don't care about it. It's like something like that. That's exactly what I see. There was I guarantee he didn't finish the damn game. I looked at some of the the criticisms, and I'm like, these are things that you just you shuck off.
Exactly.
But anyway, off the topic. So
that's what I've been playing. Deus Ex, Bastion. I got one other game to mention though. I want to promote this game.
Okay.
The other game that me and some friends of mine who are all PC players, and again, this is aimed at PC guys here. The thing is this is not on the consoles. This is a game franchise called Trackmania. And for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's never been on any other platform except PC, as far as I know. And this is a very, very fun puzzle racer. Now, it's a little different. I kind of equate the racing style to San Francisco Rush, maybe. The maps are always kind of crazy. I mean, there's like loop-de-loops and, insane jumps and really, really crazy over-the-top, tracks in general.
Right.
And here's the deal. The single player, they give you a bunch of unfinished maps. And you get a bunch of pieces. And most of the time, you can basically figure out, okay, well, here's what they wanted you to do. And you put it together, and it's a very obvious, an obvious choice on how to complete a map that you can, or a track that you can drive on. But then people get really creative, and that's what makes this game very interesting. They get very creative, and they start putting things, and this is tile-based, by the way, so they start putting things that match up, but shouldn't. And even then, most of the time, you can't even make like a completed track. You have to cheat, and you may even have to just drive like completely off the track and find another way to get on the track again.
Right.
And then people create these insane run times, that is like almost impossible to beat. You're like, how, if you don't know what they did, and all you know is that, okay, well, you built the track the most obvious way, then all of a sudden you're like, okay, they beat me by like, half my time. What in the world did they do? So anyway, the thing is I do want to promote this game. It's a blast to play. I've actually been playing the Trackmania franchise since the very first one. It's for the multiplayer aspect of it. What you end up doing is everybody gets in these huge servers, and your cars don't affect each other. Everybody's a ghost. Okay, everybody's a ghost car. The cool thing about that is that you are all competing for the absolute best time. And it's not a standard racer where everybody takes off and it's like, oh, I hit the first corner, I'm screwed. No, right. You can restart any moment from the very beginning. And all that matters is the best single run. And the cool thing is, a single run can be anywhere from 30 seconds to maybe a minute and a half. That's right. A full run, okay? But they give you anywhere from 6, 7, 8 minutes, sometimes a little longer, to run the track as many times in that time frame as you want. And the thing is once you start, you can say, start me over at the beginning, any given moment. So if you make a curve and you just completely destroy the curve and you're like, oh my God, I just lost a second right there. I'll never, there's no point in continuing. You restart immediately and you're like, okay, now I know. All right. And then you get going again. And it just gives you this adrenaline rush because you're watching everybody else's ghost cars on the track at the same time. So everybody's competing for that first place, and then 7 or 8 minutes is over, and then they show the top 3 players, and you can win achievements and all the other kinds of stuff, and then you move on to the next track.
Mm-hmm.
The coolest part,
it sounds really cool, yeah.
It really is, and the coolest part is after you play for a little while, everybody gets to build their own tracks from scratch. And those get put into the community, and then you have these ridiculous, over-the-top, insane tracks that, you have to run almost exact, perfectly just to be able to complete the stupid thing. And
right.
That's part of the fun, is creating these ridiculous tracks that nobody but you knows, and then you throw them out there in the multiplayer community, and then they get put into rotation. and then it's just ludicrous to see what people come up with. So anyway, this is the latest Trackmania game is the one that I just purchased this week called Trackmania Canyon, and it is a blast. It's actually in the beta multiplayer right now, and if you buy the game right now, it's $24.99. You actually have to go through the Ubisoft store to buy it. You can't get it on Steam or anything, not yet. But it's a blast to play. You don't need a high-end PC. You can go and check out the requirements. It's a very fun game. It's not very infuriating because you're not running each other off the track. This is something where you're just competing for the best time, and it's a blast because the tracks are fun.
Really fun. It sounds really cool. It's just a time trial, basically. It's not
exactly. It's
not really a race. It's just a time trial.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
And it really is fun. Again, the tracks are really what makes it. And the physics are kind of goofy, it's kind of fun. It's an arcade racer, but this is probably either the 6th or 7th game in the Trackmania franchise. They came out with Trackmania, then there was Trackmania Sunrise, I think, Trackmania 2, Trackmania Legends, Trackmania Nations, and now this is Trackmania Canyon. And they have improved the graphics engine, and the multiplayer engine, I mean, just dramatically with every release. So if you haven't checked it out, go over to trackmania.com or whatever, look it up, watch some gameplay. If you dig it, definitely check it out. Yeah, I think they've got a demo possibly you can try as well. It is a blast to play. So that's what else I've been doing.
Heck yeah, that sounds like good fun. We rarely talk about racers, so that's pretty.
Yeah, I actually enjoy a good racer, but it seems like they're few and far between these days. There's not many out there.
Yeah. Well, I can't do the simulation.
Oh yeah, Forza or Gran Turismo.
Gran Turismo. It's like what? I'm not shifting.
Yeah. Well, I don't even mind the shifting part, but it's just so realistic that I'm like, man, if I want that realism, I'll just go rent a NASCAR track or something for the day,
Yeah, it's pretty ludicrous. I downloaded the demo. I was like, damn, these graphics are really good for Gran Turismo 5, and I was like, I got to try this out. And I start playing it, and I'm like, dude. It's just it's like one of those life simulators, like when you got into whatever, your class where you got to play, the computer games or whatever, and they were like, oh, you get to play video games in that class. You're like, sweet. And they're like, yeah, you're gonna play Flight Simulator 2000. I'm like, sweet. And I go over to it, and I'm like, ah, damn it, this isn't a video game. This is literally a simulation, and I cannot land it. It's like land on the carrier. I'm like, son of a bitch. I just can't hit it. That's what awesome. That's what it was like. Anyway, so my favorite racer of all time, if you were wondering, is a game called Kinetica.
I have heard of that game. I have not. I don't think I ever played that one, but I remember hearing about it, and some friends of mine, I think, had it at one point. That's an old game, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's PS2 game.
Right.
Very, very good game. You basically they're modded in like suits, and their hands and feet are the wheels, and they basically move their hands to like get this traction. And the gimmick of the game is that you do stunts like axles in the air and stuff, and the more you do, the more tricks you do. You can't control which way you're going while you're doing a trick, but you get boost power to boost yourself forward. So, you would get to a point, I got to a point in playing that where I would never stop boosting. Like I would literally be doing tricks while boosting at the same time. It was epic. So that's my favorite. Just throwing that out there for anybody who wanted to know.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about one quick thing. I don't, this isn't exactly gaming related, but I know our audience is certainly fully aware of it. It's kind of been beaten into the ground. I don't want to really go over it too long, but how about the whole Steve Jobs resignation? Man,
I just found out about that. That's pretty crazy.
It's pretty darn crazy. I mean, this whole thing is going to be a big shift for Apple, and it does affect gaming in some ways. You're dealing with the iPhone and the iPad and stuff like that. So I thought it was a pretty darn big piece of news, gaming related or not. And I certainly thought that the viewers are probably not only aware of it, but I'm sure they're having their own discussions about it as well. But yeah, I'll tell you, it was big news.
So why is it you think that he's being taken away or he's leaving?
Well, he put in his resignation, and it was a lot of the gaming sites as well as the technology sites refused to post these, but sadly, the horrendous website TMZ, which is this goofy celebrity site, they actually posted some pictures. I don't know whether they're real. They sure look pretty darn real. But they posted some pictures of Steve Jobs. It looks like he's maybe coming out of some kind of medical place or something. But he is in extremely poor physical condition in these photos. And obviously, what the rumor mill has going about him is that most likely he does not have a whole lot of time left to live. The guy looks terrible. I think he's had liver cancer and a number of other complications from that for a couple of years now. And I think he was first diagnosed with that in 2009. And, now it's like, this other guy, the new CEO of Apple, which has kept a fairly low profile, Tim Cook, he's the one that is now the current CEO. And Steve Jobs is now left as more of a figurehead. He's actually still chairman of the board, but that's really a figurehead role. And
Right.
At this point, I think most people are believing, and even Steve Jobs in his resignation letter himself stated that he can no longer perform the functions of CEO. And so I felt like that was a huge piece of news. And we're seeing history in the making here. In the last 4 years, 3 years, I forget when Bill Gates, basically bailed out and retired completely as well. We're seeing two of the biggest icons from our generation's, youth. These are people that built the two of the biggest technology-based companies in our lifetime, and they have both, retired now from the industry in the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing history in the making here. And Steve Jobs obviously was a major force at Apple.
Yeah, not only at Apple but at Pixar too.
Oh, absolutely, sure.
Yeah, he got them started, and so it's really sad to see him, deteriorating like this. See, I had no idea he was even sick. I can't, last time I saw a video of him, I guess, was when he was talking about the iPad 2, and yeah, it looked like he had lost a lot of weight, but I just thought, he started working out and getting in shape. But it's so sad to see these pictures, when you don't know something like that, and then boom, like you see a headline, on front of on the front of one of those Esquire magazines of like when Patrick Swayze was sick, and it was just like these TMZ photos that they're just completely out of the element.
Exactly.
They were turning their head really quick or something, and they just look horrible, and you're just like, oh God.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's, let me tell you, that's the way this photo is of Steve Jobs, and man, I'm telling you, and honestly, this is why I think a lot of the technology sites refuse to reprint that photo on their blog sites. It's really an extremely unflattering photo of him, and obviously it's just a reflection of where this guy is, medically. He's very bad off. So at this point, I felt like it was certainly worth mentioning. It's huge news all around, and it's certainly of interest to me. I know a lot of the hardscopers out there. They know my background in technology. I work for a robotics company. I deal in IT, and for that kind of news, that's huge news. I'm not even a fan of Apple, by the way, but but overall, anytime there's an iconic member of somebody who helped shape the technology world that we're in right now, anytime that this member either passes away or moves on or changes positions or something, to me, that's huge news. And I always like to share that, even with the gaming crowd, because it does affect us all, in the future as we move to tablets or whatever else. I felt like it was worth mentioning. So
yeah, definitely. That's our world, our technology. That's what we got, and he was a huge member of that, of bringing that forward. With his leaps with Apple, and then also with Pixar, bringing 3D graphics in, that helped gaming out, I would assume, in some way.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah. So I think you said we had a user mail you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, we had some good mail this week. Couple of different messages, but there was one in particular that was very flattering to me. I was extremely flattered, and it was nice to be recognized for something. I can get very down on my channel sometimes, just because I'm not a YouTube big shot or anything, and
right.
Sometimes I spend a ton of work on a lot of my crazy videos, and I always expect some of them to just go viral or something, or take off or whatever, and then I just get my standard number of views. I'm just like, and I spent like that last one I talked about in the last video. Our last podcast, the video I talked about, that was, that one with me, with all 5 of me in my Rock Band video. It took me forever to work on that. It took a ton of filming time, ton of editing time.
Yeah, it was spectacular. By the way, I haven't talked to you since I saw that.
Oh,
kudos to that. Yeah, I was gonna, come at you and say something. We haven't talked in a while, and so I wanted to say kudos on that.
Well, it was an absolute blast to make it. I had a great time. It's just that when you see some of these, I do like my standard Call of Duty videos and stuff, from time to time, and my Call of Duty videos, I'll get like 1,200 views or something, in a couple of days. And then and those, literally, I play a couple of hours of Call of Duty, get a good game. I have some thoughts going through my head, and I'm like, okay, cool. Let me use this gameplay as a good background for some commentary. Yeah. It takes me, 4 or 5 minutes to record these. I render, upload it. I don't even hardly think too much about it. It's just some thoughts I wanted to get out there. And I get all these, views and comments and people liking it, and I'm just like, really? That is something of interest to you? So then I spend 2 weeks on a video thinking, oh my God, nobody's ever done this. And then everybody's like, yawn. Yeah, that was neat, Anakin. Cool. Thanks. See you later. I'm just like, ah. So anyway.
Yeah, it just goes to show you that, literally just turning on your camera and doing something stupid can be way more successful than spending all that time.
Exactly. And that's, and by the way, this is why it was very, very nice that this came in our Down the Scope email here. This was from his YouTube name is Matt James Awad. Awad? I'm probably butchering his name. Matt, I really apologize for that because you're extremely nice to me and I'm just going to destroy your name. He actually brought up a very interesting topic for us to finish off the podcast tonight with. But I wanted to read some of the things he wrote to us here. He said that, first of all, I'd like to say the usual. I'm a fan of Down the Scope, listened to it for a long time. He subscribed to both of us, and he says, his topic is a lot of gaming videos are all too similar. There's just gameplay with somebody talking over it. And, we talked about some of the new things that people are doing. He said they have evolved into dual comms, live face comms, and a corner showing the player's face, et cetera, et cetera. But he says, but really much has not changed. And he says, and this is where he is extremely kind to me. He says, this is where Anakin comes in. And he says that Anakin is the only one I've seen do what he does with the Rock Band videos. He shows his whole drum setup, the whole gaming screen, adds some aesthetic appeal to it. And he says, and now that I think about it, Anakin is also one of the only ones I've seen who created his own 3D intro. Thank you very much, Matt, because you know what? Hardly anybody ever took notice of that. When I did my whole channel recreation and everything, I spent a lot of time coming up with, I have a background in advertising, and I said, okay, I'm gonna brand my channel. I want the background to match. I want my intro to match. I want the outro to all come together and be one theme. And so I created everything purposefully like that. I wanted to keep the font the same, all that. And he says here, everyone else uses Manginosis, which is, this. I think everybody by now probably has seen his work, even if they don't know his name. I actually do know his name because you're right. Everybody, it seems like, especially the big shots, all the big machinima guys, the NGT guys, some of these other big guys who are up and coming, they all use this one guy for their intros. And it's not that he makes bad intros, it's just that he has a very specific style. And so everybody's intros all look alike, and I just didn't want to do that. I wanted to do it myself because I like to do everything myself. When I do these Rock Band videos and all that, I don't even have any help when I do the green screens and I do all the editing and I even with the one where I tried to play all 5 instruments at the same time. That literally is me just kind of counting in my head the idea of like, okay, now where are the other 4 going to be standing at this moment? Right. I should be looking over here right about now. I did all that, all of that was one take, trying to get it right in my head. I'm like, I have nothing to go by. I just hope for it to all come together. And so anyway, he wrote here, I'm an After Effects user myself, which of course is what I use as well. And he says, I know how what could look simple takes a lot of time and effort. He says he recently completed the intro for his own channel. And he says, I really appreciate those who go that extra mile to add a level of polish to their videos. So, and again, thanks for all that, Matt. I really, really do appreciate it because I am trying to do something a little different. But this is actually where his topic comes in. And he says, now here comes my question. what are your thoughts? And this is to both of us, Veridia. He says, what are your thoughts on the YouTube gaming community's content? Do you think it evolves? Is it getting stale? And this is very well thought out, by the way. I love this. He says, I think it perfectly coincides with Call of Duty. Most of the community started from Call of Duty, and like Call of Duty, little seems to have changed as time went on.
Nice.
He says,
nice.
It's true. It's true. I mean, I'm a fan of Call of Duty, but I'm not gonna stand up and say it's original. I mean, every game is just slightly different
Right.
from the last. He says new commentators show up like new perks, maps, and guns, but most styles of the video are always the same, like how Call of Duty has the same mechanics. And he says, if I had a gaming channel, I'd probably try to switch it up so I didn't sound like a hypocrite. But,
Right.
but he says, but he says that he thinks Freddie W. And, he says their live action stuff is really good for gaming references and all that. But anyway, and he throws a couple of puns in here, by the way. I'm not going to read them, but anyway,
Thank you.
But anyway, the interesting thing is that we have talked about this before in the past. But I did want to just briefly talk about this because we've talked about the YouTube community and some of the problems out there in the community, and my opinion is right now still, and this is still, I've said it before, I've said it 100 times actually, that do not, especially if you're trying to think you're going to make a career of this or get big money, do not go out and buy an HD PVR and get a camera and do all this fancy work to record your gameplay and all that. It is so unbelievably overdone. There's literally, thousands upon. I would probably go as far as I would probably guess there's probably 25,000 gaming commentators on YouTube right now who are all doing Call of Duty. I mean, let's not even get into Let's Players and walkthrough guys and some of these other guys. I mean, I guarantee you, there's just so many. That and the sad thing is there's really good ones, but because they're late to the party, they're never going to get the recognition, and it's just a sad situation. What's your take on this whole thing about like people coming in wanting to do commentating on YouTube, especially to things like Call of Duty that have already been done 100 times? What's your take on the whole YouTube thing?
Well, if you want to do it, if it pumps you up and and you're not just in it for the I want to be super famous, then go for it. That's go for it. But if you are coming in thinking that you're going to be some mega popular person, don't. The thing is that here's something you probably don't know about me. I don't watch. There's only one legendary game commentator that I watch. I don't watch anybody else, and that's Nintendo Capri Sun. He doesn't even play Call of Duty. I don't watch anybody who's like, Scene Anners or any of these other guys. None of them. Don't watch any of their videos, not subscribe to them. I won't, if I type in a Let's Play and I see that one of these big guys has done it, I will not watch their Let's Play. I look for these gems that people don't know of, and I have found them. Believe me, and I've thought of starting a series. If I ever got to a huge point of bringing these guys out, because man, certain people, like I forget his name right now. I wish I hadn't, but I looked for a Donkey Kong Country 3 Let's Play, and the thing is that Anakin and you and I have talked about how hard it would be to just sit and watch somebody play a game. That's where the commentary comes in. You've got to be entertained. This guy had me rolling on the floor the whole time. I'm sitting there just laughing my ass off at the way this guy talked, and people comment to me, and they're all the time. They're just saying, dude, you're making me laugh. Then you get to the probably 70%, no, I'm going to say 90% of the gaming commentary is on YouTube. And that's this. Hey guys, what's up? This is Veridia here. And, I'm going to be playing a game of Team Deathmatch on Rust.
It's so true.
80-90%. That is what you're getting, and that is bogging down the good stuff. The thing about it is that it's a responsibility, And the only way to keep the gaming community going is to make it a responsibility of the gaming community that's already created on YouTube to promote these gems. Okay, the thing is these guys that are in power right now, most of them, they're just like, oh yeah, making money, bro, and just keep going. They look at it as a business. Wherein what they should be doing is taking these smaller, gems and bringing them up from the bottom, pulling them toward the top of the list, and pulling them out of the garbage. You don't have a finite amount of actors and actresses on YouTube, or on in Hollywood, that more and more come up. And how do you think that happens? How do you think you hear of the Wachowski, or not the Wachowski brothers, but you hear like Kirk Douglas, and you hear about his dad. You hear about the or his son Michael Douglas. Right. How do you think they got there? Their parents got in, and then they got their kids in. Right. Where you look at Steve Tyler, and then his daughter coming up into the world. Yeah. And these are the connections you got to have. And it's a responsibility to the people who are popular already, or YouTube, Google in general, to make these people possible. Unfortunately, what's happened is Google is a business, and they on their hey, check these guys out tab that used to feature random videos, that people were watching, it now features these quote unquote YouTube horror videos that are from people like Sexy Phil, your guy, or iJustine. Oh, right. These people who they kind of push the boundaries. It's like, are their videos worth watching? No. Do they have a lot of followers? Yes. Do they whore themselves out to get the views? Yes, they do. Like look at Freddie Wong. You've got Freddie, and his videos are very entertaining to watch. Absolutely, yeah. Okay. All of the names of his videos are relate to the video. The thumbnail relates to the video. The tags relate to the video. Right. The content is solid. That means you've got one hell of a YouTube commentator. But when you've got, and even if you look at people who are considered YouTube whores, like, what's the number one guy right now? I can't even remember his name. Ray William Johnson. Okay, so Ray William Johnson is considered to be one of these guys. However, his content is good. It's funny. It's it can be kind of funny sometimes. Yeah. His thumbnails are relevant. Mm-hmm. His titles are relevant, but relevant in a way that would pull you in, which is smart. Yep. And this is how he got to the top with some help and all this stuff. And he's not a YouTube whore. He's not sitting here trying to just grab as many subscribers and whatnot as he can by faking you into watching his videos. Right. Now I personally know some people that do that. I'm not going to call them out here, but I personally know people that are YouTube whores that they're trying to get to that level, and it's just like, why would you try and cheat the system? Right. Quit trying to cheat, earn what you get. And that's basically what I'm just I guess I'm just kind of stupidly straight-laced that way, because when I got into all this, I knew there were probably ways to kind of cheat the system. I mean, I got a techie background, I'm always trying to find some way to make software work better for me, or find ways to make something work for me that wasn't really designed for. And of course, I knew that coming in even to the YouTube community. But I thought to myself, what? I want to do this based on I want to be popular on YouTube based on merit alone. I want to create good content that I haven't seen other people doing, and I want people to go, wow, check this out, and I want them to tell their friends and go, holy cow, this guy is doing some amazing stuff. But man, I'm telling you, sadly, and I've kind of been, I feel like a beaten dog sometimes, because I'm not cheating. And things are slow. Things are very slow. The thing is, though, the content that you produce is top quality. It's worth all the stuff. The problem is getting noticed. That's more than half the battle. Oh, absolutely. Imagine if YouTube for one day posted your video in a big box right on the front page. As soon as you signed into YouTube, it was in everybody's sub box. And you would instantly, that video of you doing all the instruments and all the stuff, boom, you would get 1 million subscribers. I guarantee you. You'd be like, oh my God, this is hilarious. This is great, Right. Yeah, and that is. That's true. I truly believe that is the case, It's all about literally climbing from the bottom of this hill to the top. It's just a bunch of mangled bodies climbing up to Ray William Johnson. That's what it is.
All right. Okay. So hang on. Let me go ahead and put that in Urban Dictionary. YouTube, a bunch of mangled bodies climbing up to Ray William Johnson. You have just created a new Urban Dictionary definition. Fantastic.
Oh.
Best definition ever. A bunch of mangled bodies climbing up to Ray William Johnson. That is amazing.
That's what I picture in my mind. I don't know why. It's kind of a dark and messed up thing, but whatever. But to answer the question at hand, yeah, I definitely do believe the commentary is paling on this website. Even YouTubers that I've subscribed to, I kind of only keep them around just to notice the content that I do remember them for. I watch their content today and it's just like, God, what happened to you? The gaming, a lot of you people out there, a lot of you viewers think that gaming videos started with Call of Duty on YouTube, and you're wrong. It actually started with Let's Plays. That's how gaming videos started on YouTube. It started with people posting speed runs. They would post just what were called long plays. A speed run would be a fastest time completion of a game. A TAS speed run would be a tool assisted speed run where somebody would use a tool to basically make it so that they had beaten the game in the fastest time possible. Then you have what were called long plays, which were basically somebody just playing through a game. And then one day, an individual decided to talk over his long play. And that became a let's play instead of a long play. And then, these great YouTubers I can't even remember them right now off the top of my head, like Matt Gammer, he was one of them, Kashmar. These are these amazing commentators that I liked, that I have now surpassed. They were there from the beginning. And I have surpassed them in subscribers. It's like, what? DC Crab. Jeez, there's just a ton of them, and I just love their stuff, and they were the inspiration for me. I don't think I said his name right. It was probably not DC Crab. I can't. Deceased Crab. My bad.
Deceased Crab.
That's his name. And he does like all these old school, games. Nothing new, nothing but he got his popularity from that. People liked watching the old stuff, and it was his commentary that brought people in. I mean, you've got people today who actually made it out of that rubble that really, really, really deserved it. And Capri Sun is definitely one of those guys. He's always got something to say. He's always got a story to tell. He's always got a reference, and he's always talking. He's never stopping, and that's the main thing is that you've always got to be engaging. And these commentators, nobody is a public speaker to begin with,
Sure, yeah.
You do have to start somewhere, and I can understand talking like this. If you go back to my videos, as I've said a million times, you'll see the contrast in some of them. It's not as bad because I had a channel before this. Man, if you had seen those, you'd be like, Jesus, Veridia. I didn't curse. I didn't say anything. I was literally the same way. But I do have a knack for liking to talk. And once you get on the site and realize that, F the trolls, doesn't matter. I'm just going to do this for myself. I'm going to have a good time. Then you really just, you kind of come into your own. And if you can't make a syllable or if you can't make a
coherent thought,
yeah, exactly. If you can't form syllables into, that's where I was going with that. But you may not be fit for YouTube, and even further than that, if you can't find your own character to stand out from the crowd, you may not be fit. And Anakin has found this. I think the thing with the green screen. You've got this literal avenue to like fame on JTV.
I know. I need to get my JTV act
I'm
together.
Serious. If you put that on there and somebody sees that, just the thumbnail, they're gonna be like, "Oh, this isn't just an average gamer." Click. and it's just you like chilling out, just like every time you turn it, that's popularity. Boom! It's like that extra time that goes forward to doing something like that. That's what shows. And
sadly though, it really is disheartening because it's not even just me. I've seen a lot of these guys out there who are doing these really cool special effect videos, and they're using After Effects and these green screens and special software tools to create these crazy over the top videos. And I mean, I'm just doing it in the same level as being a gaming commentator director. I'm just throwing it in there because I really enjoy it. I've got ideas on how to put me in a Call of Duty game, and doing some other things. But at some point, there's just so much work involved, and I do all of that by myself. That at some point, if I'm going to get the same number of views or the same kind of attention from literally a video that takes me 10 minutes to create and then upload, that it would take me 2 weeks to create, maybe more, then it's like, I just feel like at some point it becomes extremely disheartening to put all that extra work in because there's just not enough. There's not enough attention. I don't have a big enough audience to command a 2-week project. I do it really for my own benefit. And, at the end of the day, that's really, I was just, I saw the whole, me doing all the instruments as a little personal challenge. I thought, this will be neat. I don't think I've ever seen anyone do this. So I went ahead and did it. And I mean, it took me quite a while. It was a real pain. And I went through some major frustration to get it to come out the way I liked. And, but overall, I was very happy with the outcome. And the thing is, I mean, let me tell you, I put it up. It was late at night. I put it up, and I was like, oh my God, okay, I cannot wait for all the comments and everything. This is just going to be crazy. I threw it up there, and I put over it at TGN as well, and I stayed up half the night. I had to work the next day and everything. I stayed up half the night reading comments, and by 2 days in, that was it. No new comments, no new views, and I was like, huh. And I even went ahead and tried to promote it a little bit. I threw it out there, and at some other forums that I visit once in a while. Even music related, nothing having to do with YouTube even. And a few people commented. I even threw it up on my Facebook page, and I was like, "Hey, check this out!"
Yeah.
And man, just crickets.
Yep.
It was like, what the heck, What does a guy got to do for a break?
I know. That's the way I look at it. I'm the same way. Like sometimes, like with the Infamous. So like Infamous, I throw it up there, and then I took a break because I had a baby, and then I throw a part up there, and it's like barely got anything. I was like, wait a minute, this was doing really good. What the hell? People just forget. And
exactly.
And that's just how it goes. I mean,
well, look at your most famous video. Is it still to this day? Is it still your Donkey Kong Country series?
Well, it's right under that damn stupid ass zombie video I put out.
Oh, right. But I mean, overall, your most famous your most famous series, I guess, was certainly the Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah,
and you said that was basically by accident, right?
No, I literally woke up because the way I do things, I'll buy the game at midnight, come home and let's play a part, and then get it up before you guys wake up. So it's like, oh god, that game just came out today. He's already got a part out. And that day, I didn't realize it came out that day because it came out I think it came out on like a Friday.
Weird.
Or a Sunday. It was a weird, odd day that it came out, and I was like, what? It didn't come out until, oh, crap. And I saw that there was like a Let's Play part, and I was like, crap, because I was promising people I was going to Let's Play it. And then I get home, and I'm like, I throw it in, and Donkey Kong is never an easy game, and so I raged at it, and any game I rage at, the views fly off the handle, which is something I should run with. But that Mortal Kombat, those are the two that really just took off, and those are the two that really made me the most angry. Because Donkey Kong is frustrating. It's a hard core action platformer, and then Mortal Kombat was just stupid AI and Shao Kahn. That was just a big pain in the ass, but yeah, YouTube is a very complicated thing, and we've touched upon a ton of the just tonight we went over just talking about that topic.
Yeah, it's true. And, I hate to revisit it, but, I always do have new comments about it, new information. I don't want you guys to think that we're beating a dead horse here, but, the YouTube is ever evolving. We've talked about it before, and honestly, Vriddy, you and I have talked about where YouTube is going to evolve into more of probably a live service down the line, or something else like JTV is going to overtake YouTube probably years from now. I think the idea of creating, pre-made videos are probably going to go away. People are going to be more interested in live cams of people who are living out their life. It's probably going to get very close to the Truman Show in the next 10 years. I guarantee you there's going to be somebody who will have a camera following them around, 24 hours a day, and in something, whatever the next iteration of YouTube is.
I thought about doing that one time. I was like, for one day, I want to do that. I want to take my camera. I will have I'll literally have my bloggy, my phone, my wife's phone, my brother's phone, and literally for a whole freaking day just film a 24-hour period.
I thought about doing it too. I one of those little hero cameras, stick it on my shoulder or something, and just be at eye level with everybody I talk to throughout the day, and just record everything all day.
Every single thing that happens, and it's just like every waking minute, and just that day maybe even plan a lot of crap. I'm gonna go camping at night, and then I'm gonna go to the mall and piss off the guy at GameStop or something like that. It's just some fun stuff to do, and then literally somebody could you could put it up in hour increments. Viridia hour 0, Viridia hour 1. Hour 2, just keep going, It'd
be like a stupid show 24,
Except it wouldn't be worth watching.
Yeah, exactly right. You wouldn't be saving the world every 10 minutes.
I would literally wake up, it's like 12 o'clock at night, I'm like, and then it's just black. It's like the first 4 episodes are completely black. And then I finally wake up at 5 o'clock because Sammy's crying. I go in there, you get to see all that crap. I go back to bed.
Right, exactly.
Oh my God, he changed the diaper.
I've been watching this for 4 hours, and that's all I got to see.
Dude, he moved! He moved! This son of a bitch doesn't move in his sleep. But anyway.
Awesome.
Anyway.
Well, I think that's about all the time we've got. I do want to thank again, Matt James Awad. Awad. God, he's going to kill me. Anyway, MJA. We're just going to call you MJA. So anyway, I really do appreciate it. It's nice to be at least recognized for a lot of the work I've done. I did get a few messages in the last week or so. I think quite a few people did recognize the amount of effort I put into that video. But sadly, it's just one of those things that, what we've been talking about is it's very, very difficult to get recognized on YouTube. A lot of people don't necessarily know what goes into some of this stuff. And Freddie W is a prime example. This guy, there's a reason he puts out, one video a week, generally. It's because his stuff takes a lot of effort. So, it's very, very cool, very neat. I enjoy doing it. And for those of you trying to get into it, the only advice I think that you can take away from this is that definitely try to do something different. Because if you're just going to be a Me Too guy, you're going to be up against some pretty tough odds to get recognized. So
yeah, pretty strong.
But anyway, other than that, we covered some good stuff here. Deus Ex. If you haven't tried it, don't take my opinion. Go read Metacritic. Talk to some people who've played it, and maybe rent it at Redbox or something ahead of time. I'm gonna probably do a follow up in our next episode with how much further I get with it. Hopefully by then I'll have also finished Limbo and Bastion, and
you better finish at least one of them.
Exactly. So anyway, other than that, Verdi, you got anything else?
No, I'm good.
Well, good. All right. Well, this has been episode 31 of Down the Scope. Join us next week for episode 32. Don't forget to email us at podcastdownthescope@gmail.com with any and every idea for a topic that you want to send us. Right now, things are a little lightweight. There's not a big number of games, so odds are if you send us a good topic right now, it is bound to at least be mildly discussed, if not maybe made into a whole episode.
Right.
We've got a huge fall coming up. Gears of War 3 is right around the corner. We've got all the big names coming up. We've already covered a million times. So obviously late in the fall, we're going to have, so many damn topics to cover that, user mail is probably going to take a back seat to a lot of the current stuff going on.
Right.
So if you want to hear yourself on the air, now is the time. So anyway, join us again for episode 32 next week. Thanks for listening, and we will see you guys next time.
Later, guys.
See ya.